Alright, so today we're going to be giving you guys a BBIG and Progeny update video, each of them in that order respectively. There's going to be timestamps below in the video where you guys can see. If you're just here for BBIG, you can skip ahead to the BBIG section. If you're just here for Progeny, you can skip ahead to the Progeny section. So that's all you really need to know for that. Check out the timestamps if you're only interested in one of these two stocks. Like the video if you guys don't mind. Liking the video is the #1 way to help me out here on this channel. Subscribe for more content, and let's just get right into it. First things first, got to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is Moomoo.com. Moomoo is a stock brokerage licensed FINRA broker, and they're doing an amazing stock promotion. As you guys can see, all you have to do is deposit $1 on their platform. You can get up to $7,000 in free stock. That could be the juice to get you guys going. I mean, right now, market's not too hot. Jerome Powell spoke today, really not too hot. So here is a very asymmetric risk to reward opportunity by signing up for Moomoo. Also obviously helps out the channel. They also have an additional promotion where if you deposit $100, you can get 1 free share of AMC stock. But personally, I think to deposit $1, get up to $7,000 in free stock is a fantastic deal. The links are below in the description or pinned comment section to check it out, and let's get right back into it. All right, so BBIG, my friends, we are still a little oversold. The momentum is still on these longer time frames to the downside, meaning that there could be potential that we get some more upside in the coming weeks. Now, this comes along with potential Cryptide news. We got the amendment to the Form 10 last night, as well as the Form 8 today. So we've got the most news with Cryptide in a while, so there could potentially be more of an anticipation rally leading up to that spin-off. So that is looking good, and the technicals would in fact align with that. It doesn't mean we will in fact do that over the long term. It just means that there is potential. With that being said, we do have the VWAP pointing down, which is that yellow on the weekly chart, and that is not the best sign, right? And when we move into some of these lower time frames, the daily chart actually just gave a short sell signal, which is pretty weird because this was a green candle, right? You don't really get that before. The other short sell signals, the red X's, have actually performed decently well in the past, as you guys can see here, here, and here, but they don't always work too well. And we also have the VWAP curving up here on Market Cipher. You can see that yellow curving up, but it's still under bearish money flow. So we will see what happens with that. Kind of ambiguous, but it is definitely leaning in that bearish direction. The 4-hour chart is definitely looking a little bit better, especially with after hours. We're up about 2% in after hours. We're curving up about a printed green dot on the hourly chart, which means we would rebound. Now this hand in hand with today's bullish flow is a looking decently solid. Money flow as well is coming up. We potentially could get that run back. The red money flow is also coming right up here. We'll touch on what happened today with today's price action, because it did seem like we got a bullish catalyst right today with these two filings that we got, but there is something that we have to touch on, and we're going to get into that with the whale flow. So here we have the whale flow. This is what we really need to focus on. So today we actually did have a pretty bullish flow. It was 63% bullish from whales, which is pretty good. So this was coming off of yesterday's extremely bullish flow that we have right here. If we show the charts, you guys can see it was 93% bullish. It was very bullish. Yesterday was definitely an anomaly for the whale flow, especially when we look at the entire past week. If we pull up the charts right here, the entire past week was about 90% bullish. So for yesterday to be about 93% bullish, that was definitely a bit of an anomaly. And then yesterday, none of this was public information. The amendment to the Form 10 wasn't public information. The Form 8K also was not public information. So let me remind you guys, this 93% bullish flow that we saw yesterday came before there was any public information, and it came in large premiums. There's a 59K bet right there, 87K bet right there. The largest bets in over a week, right? Coming right before the news on this stock hit. So to explain the sell-off that we had today, starting at around 9:15 a.m. after we get this good news in terms of Tyde, it doesn't make too much sense right off the bat, but you have to look at what exactly these whales were doing. So we can move into the bid side of the whale flow that we saw today, and you guys can see that the bid side was extremely bearish. There was tons of whales selling their call option after this news hit, and this was essentially a sell the news event. But what I think is pretty interesting about this is that yesterday's flow, the most bullish that we've seen in a very long time. But then right at market open, we're getting all of these sell orders, like literally within the first 15 minutes of market open, we're getting tons and tons of sell orders right here leading up till 10. It was all pretty much selling of these call options, including this floor trader 17 minutes into market open, selling $213,000 worth of call options. And going back to the anomaly 93% bullish flow that we saw yesterday before any news hits, and comparing that to the flow that we saw this morning, where there was tons of whale dumping of these call options after the news hits, it almost begs the question of whether or not there was insider trading going on, right? Because none of this news was public information when we got this anomaly right here, right? And as soon as market opened today, we get the good news. We see tons of retail buying into this stock, buying call options on what seems to be good news. The stock price dumps as whales also dump, right? It's just a little weird. So obviously once I saw this, my red flag was waved, and I did alert my trading group to get out of options first and raise their stop losses if they did buy in yesterday at 302. And we did come out with money, but that's definitely not the case with all of retail, especially the ones that were speculating today. It does seem like we were screwed over by some whales. So the moral of this story is to follow the flow. The flow today was about 63% bullish, so there still possibly could be some upside. Now this is in line with what looks to be a bit of an oversold territory and a bounce that we could be seeing in BBIG. So it doesn't mean that this uptrend is out of tact by any means, right? We still got a very bullish flow today. It's just a little sketchy that we got a bullish flow yesterday with no news and a ton of dumping by whales at market open. And as you guys can see here, the biggest option trades of the day were all selling of these call options. Obviously not all of them, but a good majority of the most premium that we're seeing today is, again, selling these call options. Anyways, moving into Progenity, there's not too much of an update to make today. We still haven't seen any whale call options on Progenity. We did get a nice little technical bounce here once we filled that gap. It was a little overbought on these shorter time frames. Longer time frames obviously are still looking pretty solid. We got some bearish divergence right here on the market Cipher analysis, which means we would come down, but it looks like we are set to make some bullish divergence, which will be pretty solid, especially when looking at an uptrend. If we are able to form a higher low right here, that would make this uptrend look a lot more bullish. But at the end of the day, with uncertain market conditions, honestly, anything could really happen. It's still bearish money flow, so really anything is on the table in terms of this technical analysis we're seeing. The options flow today, we got our first bets on Progenity over $10,000 in premium or more since the beginning of January. Now these were all in put options. This $2 put expiring end of February, this $2 put expiring in 2 days from now, and then these 2.5 puts expiring in February and March. So these whales were betting that Progenity stock does go down, and that's another thing that I alerted the trading group this morning. But there was also some decent premium in call options, as you guys can see, 5K, 4K, 5K, 5K, and 5K right here. They're all going for that 128 2022. So if this technical analysis is right and we're getting some bullish divergence right here and these whales are correct as well, it would mean we get some upside over the next 2 days. That's about it, my friends. That is the update for BBIG in Prague. There's definitely a bit more action, a bit more things to talk about in terms of BBIG, but Progenity is definitely catching people's attention at this point. We're just waiting for those big beluga whale confirmations on Progenity before we really jump back into this thing. What we saw yesterday, that massive bounce, that 20% up day, was very solid for Progenity, but the uptrend is not confirmed yet, so we are going to be waiting for that before getting back into it. Anyways, that's about it. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. As always, drop a like if you guys did. Subscribe to the channel for more updates, more content, and if you guys wanted to check out Moomoo, get up to $7,000 in free stock. You can join Moomoo using the links below in the description or pinned comment section. You gotta deposit $1 in their platform in order to get that promotion. Also, these updates are coming later in the day. It's hard to react to these changes in the market that we see on a constant basis. It's always changing. So if you want the timely updates, definitely consider joining the Trade Alerts group. The link is also in the description. That's all I really got, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed. See ya!